Well, hello there. It's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astro-Numerologist, and welcome to Star Codes. This is the forecast where we look at an upcoming astrology numerology event that impacts all of us. And in this case, we're going to dive into a transit for Mars. And you're probably watching this around the Sagittarius total solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse, which happens on December 3rd and 4th, December 4th for most of the world. And because Sagittarius is a fire sign and Mars is a fire planet, there is a connection between all these Mars transits that immediately follow this Sagittarius total eclipse. So in that eclipse, Jupiter is awakened, and Jupiter being the ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter takes us into a place of multicultural acceptance of every creed, every religion, every culture, and embrace the wonderful variety of the human experience. It is a planet of expansion and joy and fortune, wisdom. And so there is a lot to discover always with Jupiter. Jupiter governs long distance travel. Now, Mars makes one of its transits to Jupiter a few days after that Sagittarius total solar eclipse. So what happens is the eclipse is on the 4th of December, and then 2 days later on the 6th, Mars is sextile to Pluto, and then on December 8th, Mars is square to Jupiter. So this is an extraordinary sequence of Mars events that initiate fire and passion and new beginnings, because Mars is the natural ruler of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. So with Mars and Pluto coming together first on December 6th in that sextile, that's a harmonious, very easy transit. And Mars and Pluto really like each other because Mars was the initial ruler of Scorpio, the ancient ruler, Pluto, the modern ruler. So when they come together, it's very intense, it's goal-directed energy, and it brings tremendous results. So this is a wonderful go-to moment in early December for you to demonstrate some extraordinary energy and achieve a lot of success. Your ability to work with enthusiasm, with your internal fire, enhances your career, enhances your life. You have energy to spare, and you have the endurance to direct what you're passionate about towards a goal. So set your intentions, because you will have the determination to move towards. Mars loves to go for it, right? And Pluto is very intense and unveils and empowers. So you feel very magnetic, very attractive. Both of these planets are incredibly sensual. And so it also activates romance and love. And so you want to keep coming back to those frequencies that you want to experience in your reality. This is really the key, because Mars is going for something. So you have to direct this energy. And of course, during the day, you may fall out of the frequency that you are intending, but that's okay. That's what life is about. So we notice that, and then we keep coming back to it again and again, and live from that place of courage. And if Mars is anything, it is courageous. You're not limited to experiencing any frequency right now. You're just limited in the form that the frequency comes in due to some of the restrictions. So your part in the process is to manifest that frequency, to work on the manifestation process. The universe will always bring you the appropriate form of the frequency, and the universe will provide you, once you tune into the frequency, it'll provide you that experience of the frequency in a very expeditious way, and usually very energetically economic way as well, because that's how the universe works. So as you're learning to tune in to the experience, the frequency that you want, this will help to liberate yourself, because you have less forms to experience the frequency. So you're really going internal to make it happen. And that allows you to actually refine and hone in on what frequency actually is, because it will appear in your life. So really empower yourself to consciously manifest those things that you want, that are for your highest good, and you will just feel happier because you are manifesting what it is that makes you feel good. Now, again, the forms may not look like what you expected them to look, but if you can let go of those expectations, very important, you'll find that your life is simply much happier. And it's because you are experiencing the frequencies that you're consciously creating right now. So as you do that, you can also help support the collective, because you're starting to create new ways, new institutions, right? We don't want to fight what we don't want. We don't want to rebel. We want to create the replacement. We want to focus our energy on what it is we want, not what it is we don't want, because that will just create more of that energy, right? It'll take us down. So it is very important to really focus on what it is you want in place of what it is you don't want, right? Not to fight what you don't want. So then we come to the final meeting of Mars, the final transit, and that's on December 8th. And this is my favorite one because, first of all, it involves Jupiter, and the sun is in Sagittarius in most of December until the 21st. And Jupiter rules that sign of joy. But also because December 8th sets off a double 8 code. And that's because December is an 8 universal month in numerology. So a double 8 means we feel energized, we feel empowered, we take the lead, we see a big vision, we overcome obstacles in a fearless way and realize that every obstacle we overcome, every challenge, makes us stronger. So it's this eternal sense of being in touch with the divine that is represented by the 8 on its side, the infinity symbol. Now, Mars squares Jupiter on December 8th. And Jupiter, of course, is about expansion. Mars about going for it, that energy, that instinct. So you have a lot of energy to begin something. And you have a strong desire to make positive decisions, positive transactions, which affects business and personal. Now, because Mars has this drive and Jupiter has this let's go everywhere with this drive, expanding, you may feel like you're crusading for something. So especially a belief, because Jupiter governs beliefs, right? And we're in Sagittarius with the sun in Sagittarius. So you want to really look at what it is that you are feeling so connected to, and is there a need to go on a crusade about it, or is there just a need to listen and observe when it is appropriate to really insert that fiery Mars energy and empower yourself in your own life, right? So like I said, this aspect really favors business success. It favors anything to do with if you want your work to be recognized, because you have the courage to stand up for yourself in any form. And the thing is with Mars, just remember, this is a square, so it can get aggressive. You want to be firm instead of aggressive. You want to be strong and courageous. So use this energy wisely, because it is extremely potent and beautiful as long as you don't burn the candle at both ends. And so that means if you're confronted with a situation where you need courage to stand up for yourself, this is important. Anything that's not for your highest good, this will give you the energy to say no. And so moderate your energy resources. Don't run out of steam, but definitely use the wisdom of Jupiter to, stand your ground. And because of the newness of the Mars energy with Jupiter, you can start creating new ways of being, so that some of the things that are going on right now, some of the restrictions, some of the control mechanisms that are around, that you perceive, around you, maybe they're not impacting you, but you perceive them around you in whatever capacity, those will start to shift, because in general, the collective is going to start energetically demanding that there be a different experience right now, because everybody will be feeling internally to stand up for their own freedom. Mars wants to be free to explore, and Jupiter explores everything. So the collective has a need now to release control, to release a sense of victimhood and stepping back into power. Remember, we started those subsequent Mars transits with Pluto, and Pluto empowers. So how do you get to that point? Well, what we do first is we need to realize what is disempowering us. So we create mirrors in our external reality, and those mirrors wake us up to the fact that we are playing safe or playing victim, right? And that we've abdicated our power in some way. And that's what we're seeing going on around the globe. So we're basically then, once we recognize that, the mirror, we're saying, this really doesn't work for me. This is not what I want to create. And so it's waking us up to the fact that something isn't appropriate any longer. And so the thing about the times we're in right now is many people have not experienced this, or at least not challenged it if they have experienced feeling victimized. Some have never thought about it until they've been presented with it at this time. So as a collective, as we stand together, this is really needed so that we can all rise within ourselves, internally, personally, to select new frequencies and decide how we want to feel. And when you decide how you want to feel, you are no longer a victim. That decision itself removes you from victimization. So when you decide how you want to feel, you cannot be a victim. You cannot be victimized by anything, because you're consciously selecting the frequencies that you want for yourself. Being a victim is when you are not taking responsibility for the frequency that you're focusing on, right? That is what being a victim is. You're not taking responsibility for your frequency. And so you may be feeling possibly like you are giving your power away right now. Maybe it's past life energy, because there's a lot of that coming up. We've got a lot of planetary energies right now that are helping us to purge. And so part of the purging process is any past lives of persecution, past lives of victimization, all of that is going on. So it's not to judge it, it's just to understand that it may appear. And your power is about connecting to your heart. And when you connect with your heart, you can't limit the energy that you tap into. So that 88 is really representative of that infinite energy, the source energy. So when you're in fear, when you're in doubt, when you're worried, or you feel shame or guilt or judgment of any kind, then you usually say, I don't like what I see, and you separate yourself from it. Well, here's the thing. That thing that you separate yourself from and don't deal with is source energy. So you're literally separating yourself from source. You've cut yourself off from source energy. So when you get into your heart-centered space, you don't judge. You don't feel guilt. You just acknowledge. You allow it to flow through you. You don't limit the flow of anything that is appearing in your life. And so that way you experience the whole gamut, which is the point, especially with Jupiter, to experience it all. The whole enchilada, the whole, source energy experience. Then you're not a victim, because you're not saying, I don't like that. I'm not partaking in that. Well, it appeared in your life for a reason. You attracted it into your life, right? Take responsibility for that. And then go into your heart. Have compassion for it, right? So right now is really the time with this Mars triple transit to stand in your power. And when you stand in your power, you stand in your heart. And when you stand in your heart, you have courage. Mars is all about courage. So take this as an invitation to step into that place of being the leader, the person who has total compassion, does not judge, just is being excited and happy to experience life and never gets caught into that stream of anger and frustration and, fighting energy, because that's when you join the energy that you don't want in your life. So remember, focus on your frequency that you want. That is going to remove you from any sense of being the victim of anything. So enjoy that week. It follows the eclipse, and it is really a powerful time as we end 2021. And remember, you have a star code as well. Your birthday, your birth name, your astrology chart all emit a frequency, and it describes your destiny, your purpose. So if you want to learn more about that, go to starcodeclass.com. It's a free masterclass. It's all about you, and it helps you understand the people in your life so you don't have to judge them, right? You can just have compassion and appreciate them for who they are. So enjoy that at starcodeclass.com. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in next week's Star Codes podcast. Lots of love.